Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be going over how to use the newest character in Dragon Ball Legends, Ultra Super Vegito. This guy is an insanely powerful character that could potentially be argued as the single strongest character in the entire game. So what we're going to be talking about here is first, what are some good team compositions for this Vegito? Then what kinds of equipment work well on him, and then finally we're going to be going over and discussing what kinds of mechanics this guy brings to the table to make him as good as he is. At the same time, we'll be showing off some gameplay to illustrate those mechanics. Alright, so I've prepared two different team compositions for Ultra Super Vegito that I think both allow him to perform equally as well. The first team we're going to be showing off here is the Fusion Warrior team, which I guess you could classify as his quote-unquote main setup. And the reason I really like this team is for two reasons. Number one, because you get to run Vegito alongside Ultra Super Gogeta, and I think they're both able to complement each other extremely well. Gogeta being blue, covering Vegito's weakness to red characters, and there's a lot of red characters running around in the meta right now. Gogeta also reduces ally subcount by 5 when the enemy uses their Rising Rush, which allows you to, in a lot of instances, switch back to this Vegito and successfully eat the Rising Rush and survive thanks to him having endurance, as well as just a host of other reasons why Gogeta and Vegito work really well together, which is obviously their intent, right? The second reason I like running this team is because it is definitely more on the defensive side of things, and that fits my personal play style more. If you guys like to run maybe different bench setups, you don't really like the way that I've built this team, that's perfectly fine. This is the way that my playstyle complements this team build the best. Ultra Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku all provide double defense Z abilities to the entire team. And at the same time, we have Purple Super Vegito and Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks both providing the HP Z abilities, which, should definitely be sufficient in allowing you to sustain a ton of hits before being forced to give up one of your characters, even if you don't have the, a very high amount of stars in your characters. Like, this is a team build that even if your characters are at like 6 to 7, maybe even 8 stars, like, you're still going to be fine defensively with this build here. Now, the one thing to note as well is that obviously Super Gogeta's Ultra ability wants you to be using Fusion Warriors on the bench to get the full extent. We are going to be foregoing one of the slots there, obviously, for the LF Super Saiyan 3 Goku on the bench. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth giving the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta a bit of extra defense with the Zenkai ability from that Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta at this point still very good still, but he's definitely started to become a little bit power crept. So that's the reasoning behind including the Goku on the bench there. But everything else, I think it's pretty self-explanatory here. The second team that I've made essentially consists of the 3 main anniversary characters. So for a lot of people, this might be a very difficult team to build at this point, considering that these are all brand new characters, debuting on 3 separate banners that are, obviously, they've only been on 1 banner each. But it definitely works extremely well with all 3 units being really, really powerful individually. Overall, this team is probably a bit less synergistic than the Fusion Warrior team that we just looked at. And, there's no blue unit to cover Vegito's weakness to red. But overall, I think the presence of UI allowing you to stall out the game to get your switches back, especially with the fact that most people at this point are using Vegito on their team, just having a very strong red unit is pretty important. On top of the fact that Dragon Fist's ability, just to pretty much have the option to nuke anyone out of existence with his full gauge in the Dragon Fist, is, I think, what makes this team very good. Overall, though, Vegito is like one of the best, most versatile characters in the entire game. His ability to debuff the entire enemy team every time he uses a card not only benefits himself, but also the rest of the characters in the team. The extremely long combo strings he's able to stitch together, in addition to his endurance, right? Making him pretty much one of the most premium and top options as a leader slot character on essentially any team that you want to throw him on. So those are the 2 team options. Again, we have Fusion Warriors over here, and then we have sort of like the anniversary, I guess we'll call it a Saiyan team over here. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some of the best equipment options that you can use on this guy. So the first option that I'm going to be showing here is an Awakened equipment, which definitely can be annoying to make for a lot of maybe not so long time players, but it's Awakened, come on and give me your best shot. This one is definitely more of an offensive-based equipment, but it's giving a lot of stats. You can get up to 35% blast or strike in the 3rd slot. It gives you up to 20% to base blast defense in slot 2, and it gives you either base critical or base key recovery in slot 1. Now, if you have the luxury of choosing between one of those 2 stats in slot 1, I definitely would prefer the key recovery. This guy's able to string together a ton of combos all at once, and I think the key recovery overall is going to be way more beneficial in allowing you to string together those combos over the critical. Keep in mind, this can be used on any Fusion Warrior, so if you're running the Fusion Warrior team, you might find yourself wanting to run 2, even 3 of these Awakened Equips on the team, so definitely not a bad option to invest in this one early on. The next one we're going to be talking about is, I'm not used to making this transformation yet. This is a unique equipment that is specific to Majin Buu Saga. So any Majin Buu Saga characters can use this. It is definitely, again, more strike-based equipment. So I guess you're looking at more of a strike-based Majin Buu Saga set of characters that want to make use of this equip. But overall, again, 35% to strike attack in slot 3. But on top of that, this is not as offensively based as the first unique equipment that we looked, or the first equipment that we looked at, because this one actually brings 15% to both defenses to the table in slot 2, and then you're getting the 15% to key recovery in slot 1. I think there are very few instances where I would not automatically put this on Vegito, right? This is pretty much always a must use on him, I think, in most situations. The third equipment we're going to be looking at is called Youre the Idiot. This is another unique equipment. This is for Fusion Warrior and yellow characters. So you're talking like Blue Gogeta, Majub, and of course this Vegito. Those are the 3 main characters you're going to want to use this on. This one actually is more of a balanced equipment because it's allowing you to get 20% to strike and blast in slot 3. It's giving you special move and ultimate damage in slot 2, and then slot 1 is giving you HP restoration and base key recovery. I think HP restoration is one of the more powerful stats that you can be using on this Vegito, because keep in mind, he's healing 10% of his HP every time an enemy's attack ends, right? So if you get tap blasted, if you get tackled, if you get tap attacked, like any of those things count as an enemy attack ending, which is going to trigger his 10% heal, and then obviously that would get amplified by the HP restoration on this equipment. So this is a very strong equipment. Again, this alongside what I mentioned earlier, I'm not used to making this transformation yet. Both of these unique equipments, I think, in most cases are going to be auto-includes on this Vegito. All right, the next equipment we're going to be looking at is All Right. This one is available to any Fusion Warrior characters, and you might be looking at this equipment and wondering, why is this even in the discussion? And if you guys aren't aware of the difference between pure and base stats, this one is giving basically 1 to 5% to pure strike attack for each tag Fusion Warrior battle members. So we looked at the previous unique equipments, right? We have some giving 35% to base strike attack. This one's only giving 15% to strike attack, but instead of base, it is pure strike, assuming that you're running a full Fusion Warrior team and you have the max roll in slot 3. Pure strike attack as compared with base strike attack, like there's a major difference in how much more value you're getting out of the pure strike attack. So just keep that in mind here. And then it obviously is also going to come with both defenses, 13% to both for slots 1 and 2. So this is a pretty solid option if you want to go down a more offensive path, I think, for Vegito. So definitely not a bad equip at all. Next, we have the Battle of Saiyans equip. This is, honestly, if you're a newer player, I would say just farm like 4, 5, 6 of these. Like, this is one of the most useful equips in the entire game, and I think it will age very, very well. Because number one, it's giving HP, it's giving defenses, which are both extremely, valuable stats. And then number 2, you can use this on any Saiyan. So there's a ridiculously large amount of characters that this can be used on. Anytime a Saiyan releases, obviously this being Dragon Ball, we're going to get a Saiyan every other week in this game pretty much. But this equipment is giving 10% HP in slot 3. And then in slot 1, you're getting up to 18% to base strike defense, which is very, very high for a normal equipment. And then in slot 2, you're getting up to 10% to blast defense or strike defense for 15 timer counts when faced with a Saiyan. So every time a Saiyan either switches into the battlefield or you switch into the battlefield and there's a Saiyan there, you're getting whichever one of those that you have rolled there. Keep in mind, this is a pure defensive stat, right? It doesn't say base blast defense, it just says blast defense. It doesn't say base strike defense, it says strike defense. So This is a pure defensive buff that you're getting for slot 2. Very, very strong. It's going to allow you to take hits way better. And then the final piece of equipment we're going to be taking a look at here is I'll show you. This is for Fusion Warriors and Super Saiyans. So this was, you know, pretty well designed for Vegito. His art is even on the equipment, right? This is also another good one. I think any equipment that really gives HP is automatically in the discussion for being used, I think. And this one gives up to 10% HP in slot 3. And then in slot 2, we're looking at up to 20% strike attack. And then slot 1 is giving 10% to special move damage. So those are the 6 pieces of equipment that I would recommend that you at least consider for Super Vegito. I think if it came down to it, the lineup that I would choose to go for is I'm not used to making this transformation yet, which is the unique equipment. Then there's the second unique equipment, which is Youre the Idiot. And then me personally, I think I would probably go with Battle of Saiyans. I think Battle of Saiyans on this Vegito is just too good. It allows him to eat hits a little bit better, which I think suits him best as a defensive type character and a character that's able to really draw out the match for a longer period of time, able to stall things. So those are the 3 equipment that I would personally go for. But if you're somebody who likes damage more, maybe you want to opt for the Awakened, come and give me your best shot. Or maybe you want to go for the All Right for the pure strike. Or maybe even I'll show you, which is more of a balanced equipment, giving both offense and HP as well. So those are going to cover all the equipment options that we have looked at here. Next, let's go talk about some of the certain mechanics this guy's bringing to the table and why they're so good. As with a lot of other major character releases we've gotten recently, Ultra Super Vegito comes equipped with a unique gauge that allows him to counter Tap Blast and Blast Arts cards to deal damage to the enemy. Now this sounds simple enough on paper, but there are a lot of really useful applications that this can have that I think many people don't realize and or don't utilize to their fullest extent. The first thing to highlight with this counter mechanic is that you can actually use this to counter drop combos in certain situations. For example, if the enemy is comboing you and then they decide to drop the combo and then use a blast card, you can actually preemptively queue up a strike card while simultaneously pressing a character like UI, who has a cover change to have Vegito counter the drop combo blast attack. Now obviously there's a few things to note about this. This is reliant on the enemy dropping the combo into a blast card. If they drop the combo into a strike card, then you'll simply switch into UI Goku, the combo will drop, and they'll continue to combo your UI Goku. On the other hand, if they don't drop the combo at all, you'll switch into UI Goku and cover change their attack. So basically what this technique allows you to do is to hedge your bet that your opponent will drop combo in giving you a slightly higher chance of ending their combo early. The second thing to discuss about this counter mechanic is that you can actually use this to potentially defend against perfect vanishes. If the enemy perfect vanishes you and then leads off with a blast card, you can actually preemptively queue up a strike card to cancel their blast attack completely and counter them, resetting the fight to a neutral position. But once again, this is also reliant on the enemy starting the combo with a blast card. If they start their perfect vanish with a strike card, then you will simply just get comboed normally. Now this is definitely not a new mechanic, since this is something that you could have always done with characters that have blast armor. But in the case of this Vegito, the counter takes it to a new level because it guarantees that the combo will be reset. Whereas if this same maneuver is performed with blast armor characters, there's still a chance that the enemy could catch you off guard and then continue the combo against you, even if you're able to counter them with your blast armor. The last thing that I wanted to quickly mention about Ultra Super Vegito's unique gauge is not so much a technique, but basically how I like to use it and how I think it's best utilized. I think utilizing this in the same way as you would utilize like UI Goku's unique gauge is a mistake. UI Goku is able to use his unique gauge multiple times per charge. However, when Vegito uses his counter, the entire unique gauge gets depleted in one go. And that's why I think the smartest way to use this unique gauge is just to wait for an opportunity to help you restore your vanishing gauge. A lot of people are going to get excited, you know, when the enemy tap blasts and you can counter it right away. I mean, it's a cool mechanic, right? You get to counter their blast card, deal damage. It's cool. But I think utilizing it like that is a mistake. Try not to use the counter right away. And instead, if you find yourself in a position where like you can't switch out and you have no vanish, then you want to use it as a defensive tool to try and buy a little bit of extra time against blast arts specifically in order to get your vanish back. Now, the other mechanic that this Super Vegito brings to the table that is exclusive to him, as of me recording this video, is the ability to chain his special arts card off of his strike cover change. Now, the reason why this is so powerful is because the special arts card then allows you to chain into strikes, into blasts, into special moves, into other special arts cards, essentially anything else that you want to do. There's a reason why they have never implemented this for other characters that have the same type of cover changes and the same special arts cards. Take like LF Rose Goku Black, for example. He has a special cover change against strikes as well as a projectile style special arts card the same way that this Vegito does. However, he can't chain the cover change into the special arts card, and if you try and do that with LF Rose, the enemy will simply vanish the special arts card, and then they'll be able to start a guaranteed combo on him because of the fact that the special arts card is a long animation. This is truly a unique ability for Super Vegito that will allow you to quickly gain the upper hand in battle if you're able to utilize it properly. Now, this is not something that you can really plan for. It just kind of happens. If you manage to cover change the enemy with Super Vegito and you happen to have a green card in your hand, just remember, you can combo off of that, and that makes it's literally just a free combo. It makes a massive difference. So that is pretty much going to be it for this one. If you guys found this video useful, let me know down below, and let me know if there's any other characters that you guys want to see this style of video on. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one.